Oh my gosh, we just had an incredible talk about boundaries in a boundaryless world. I really hope that you join me. Please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please like this video, comment below, let us know how you are going with processing your old traumas and really going out into the world as a leader, as a star seed. How are you showing up as your most authentic self? How are you looking at these fears and kind of getting to the bottom and looking at the breadcrumbs, which are these little gold nuggets of goodness that say, wow, I've been doing this way because of this. And then we can kind of give it the love that it needs and move on with our lives. Because what I'm finding at the end of the day, a lot of us are still unpacking some past life issues of the pain of death, and the pain of attack, and people coming for us and hurting us. So that's heavy stuff. That's heavy stuff. So we really get into it here. So please join me for a chat. Grab a coffee, grab a tea, grab some water, grab your journal, and let me know what you're going through. I really hope that this could be helpful for you. And again, please subscribe to the channel if any of this offering works for you. See you in the chat. It's a cold brew kind of a day. How are you doing today? Buongiorno. Today we are going to be talking about holding and having boundaries in a boundaryless world. What does that mean for you, and what does that mean for me? So, as we know, the world is changing and we are moving towards unity consciousness. Whatever that foundation is for you, whether it's we're going from 3D to 5D, whether we're, breaking down the old structures and systems, we're going into the new world, we're ascending, to unity consciousness, whatever that language is for you, we're becoming the most authentic versions of ourselves. Whatever that language is for you, we're going towards a more unified consciousness, which is joy, love, bliss, abundance for everybody. For everybody, your friends, neighbors, enemies, everyone on the planet. Everyone on the planet. And so we know this. We know that that's what we're working towards. We know that that's what we're working towards. So how do we create boundaries in a boundaryless world? Sarah, you've talked about boundaries for ages, and like for my human avatar, Sarah, this is extremely triggering. This is extremely true. What do you mean? I have to share with my enemies, the people that I've blocked, people that have, that I've had sexual trauma with, people that have sexualized me. No, ma'am. No, thank you. Yeah, Sarah, you gotta talk about it, you gotta share it, and you gotta heal it so that even the people that sexualized you, that took advantage of you, that hurt you, you want them to have positive things too. You want them to have positive things too. So with that foundation, with that knowing, with that understanding, we are all very high vibrational beings. We are all very meditated beings. But, sometimes there's a parable, and I don't know what religion this came from, but I mean, maybe there was a monk, probably Buddhism, that was, meditating up in the mountains for years, 20 years or so, meditating. And everyone looked to them as just, they're so peaceful, they're so lovely, and they're so wonderful. And so finally, the monk decided to come into town, into the village. Within minutes, he's pissed at traffic, he's frustrated, people are cutting in front of him, there's fucking variables everywhere, and he's just like, what the fuck is all this? Has to go back up into that mountain and meditate again. But is that peace or avoidance? Is it not? Is the goal not to be able to be amongst the variables and hold that same control, hold that same bliss, hold that same power? So now, let's look at it with our 2023 lens, Marzo 2023. I'll speak for my statements. Very sensitive being. I'm a very, very, very sensitive light worker. I'm a starseed. I am not human. I am from, I think, the 11th dimension, a different time and space, but I can see in this moment as I'm watching the video, this space and space that I come from, not human. Very, very different. But I'm also a waiter. So divine angelic being, server. We gotta be in the same place at the same time. So I work with people that are not the same as me, have very different value systems, very different belief systems than me, or do not have the emotional understanding and maturity to have these unpacking, processing conversations. That's amazing. That's amazing. They're human. It's amazing to be human. I love humans. They're so freaking cute. I literally came here to help humans. I love them. They're so precious. But it can be tough to, find common ground where, I can come in and just be like, oh my God, I was really pleasuring myself this morning and I had 5-6 orgasms in a row, and I was just channeling in this really beautiful, effervescent energy for the planet. I was in my little Caribbean island space with Jesus and Buddha, and they were just holding me, and it was really love filled and really amazing and joy filled. And so I think that I've created this beautiful vibration for everyone on the planet to experience that bliss if they so choose for it. What did you do this morning? I, brought my kids to school and, did the laundry, and I took care of my house and, went for a beautiful walk, and that's awesome. That's the same thing. That's the same thing. That's living in bliss, living in bliss, living in joy, living in joy. We don't have to agree. We don't have to have the same experiences, but we can have that. We can share in those experiences. We can share in that joy. We can share in that bliss. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't. And trust me, sometimes, I have gone in, guns ablaze, and be like, I can talk to babies now. Their consciousness is talking to me. My grandma's talking to me. There's a reptilian attached to that waiter over there. You want, but, can't. It was a waiter's aide. It wasn't a waiter, just so you know. And they chose it. But I'm getting off track. So, we're going into this unity consciousness, this boundaryless world where we'll be able to read vibrations. I don't want to say we'll all be able to read thoughts, because I feel that might be scary for people in this moment to be everyone can read your thoughts. But think of it this way. When you see someone who's having a great day, you can tell. When you see someone that's just having a shitty day, you can tell. It'll be like that, but just on steroids. That's what 5D is like. That's what unity consciousness is like. Where you walk up to someone on your same vibe and you're just wow, that person is really heart opened. Or this person is really grounded. I feel really safe around them. I feel I can express myself. But also, you'll be able to start to be this person is not my vibe. No. And the more you walk up to them, it'll be I don't want to be around this person. And you just walk away. That was the old way. Now, you'll acknowledge that person isn't of your vibe. Multidimensionally, you'll be wow, my intuition is on, my higher self is telling me this person is not of my vibe. I cannot diminish my light because I'm in this world. So always shine as bright as you possibly can. Acknowledge that this person is different. This situation that you're about to walk into is different, but show up. And you stand there, and you don't have to be hi, I'm Sarah, I'm an alien from another time and space. Hi, what's up? And you just be in that moment. In that moment, you just exist and you be. And if, that person, that situation that you're in front of is either like, blah, 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 or trying to take from you, you'll feel that push or pull. And you'll be able to say, I'm seeing what's happening in front of me. There's there's a vibrational push and pull in front of me that A, I acknowledge, and B, I don't want to participate in. So then that is your moment between action and reaction. We have that pause. And we'll be able to say, and this can literally be an exchange where it's happening in a way that this person is walking up to you and it's just like, hey, how are you today? And you've experienced this like, I can't, this is not, like I'm supposed to have a boundary with this person. I'm supposed to have a boundary with this thing. And you're like, well, you can't have the boundary with that thing. This is how we do it. This is how we do. We acknowledge that. Acknowledge it inside of yourself. So when that person is standing in front of you, you're inside, you're like, I'm triggered, I'm feeling these feelings. The person says, hi, how are you? I'm fine, how are you? And then, I'm fine. Okay. Acknowledge how much output you want to give, because the input of what you're receiving is gargantuan in that moment. So you recognize that like this thing outside of me is taking. That is not unity. It's taking. So just by your vibration, this is how we're going to set a boundary in a boundaryless world. Engage to the point of what feels good. And that's that. And then, say, hey, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? That person responds with something that maybe you're fine to hear and then move along. Or then maybe they start to engage, like really engage, really spew some crap that's not for you. Like, okay. So then, find whatever level of graciousness you have to let that person respond. If it's something that you really don't want to hear, then go to the Peanuts parents. That's always like, if I'm listening to a customer that, is saying something that my human really doesn't agree with, and my human will want to be like, these are the lessons, these are the things, I'll just start to look at the bridge of their nose and go Peanuts parents. Or I'll start to hear a light language, whatever it may be, because those, you don't need to receive the words. The vibration of what they're saying is the lesson of your consciousness to be like, okay, I don't need to receive that. My ears are not dumpsters. They're not trash cans. So let's block out whatever that is and let the vibration be my teaching. You'd be, oh, cool. Thanks for sharing that with me. I disagree completely, but I appreciate you sharing. We must constantly tell the energy of the world around us how we feel. That is your boundary. And you don't have to participate anymore in that, because you're not looking to teach that person anything. They might, pull back. I'll do a full dramatization. Let's do a dramatization. We're at work and we, going into work in a situation with people that we're not, we have to work with. We appreciate that. We want to keep things work-centered, but that's our boundary. So, you come in to work, hello. And somebody comes up to you, then you're just like, I don't vibe with this person, but, I can't set a boundary. I got to be around them. So what do? They walk up to you. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? You don't need to tell them about your life. That's not being secretive. That's not being mean. That's literally just living your life. That's living your life. I say, I'm fine. How are you? And if you don't want to in those moments, you don't have to say, how are you? You can just say, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. I hope you're having a nice day. You don't have to have an engagement in that moment. But if you did, I'm fine. How are you? And that person, starts to unleash about things that maybe you don't give a fuck about. But, you did the pleasantry thing, and now you're holding space for this moment. For this moment where your emotional maturity is learning, you're setting boundaries, you're doing these things. So if they start to unleash and you really don't want to hear it, you don't even want to listen to the want of the Peanuts parents, and then you can just be like, oh my God, that seems so intense. I'm sorry you're experiencing that. I got to go do the thing. Or if you would like to be, gracious as can be, let them share what it is that they're sharing. And then at the end of it, just say, oh my goodness, thank you for sharing that. I hope you find what you need, or I hope it works out well. Always send blessings along, because that blessing hits you first. Say, I hope you find what you need. I hope you find what you need. You are constantly in your highest vibration, even amongst people or beings that you don't feel fully safe around. Safety is key. Safety is key. And a lot of what we are experiencing right now as far as setting verbal boundaries. This is fucking gross and deep, and I discovered this on Sunday. I'll share a little bit about a personal situation, but what we're finding right now and what I'm discovering is that setting these verbal healthy boundaries, our fear is actually based in physical retaliation. We're worried about getting punched because these experiences that shaped us happened when we were either a child or tween, teenage, where we actually could have gotten bullied or hit on the playground or by a sibling or by a parent at that age where we didn't feel like we could physically stand up for ourselves. A lot of the times this is sibling shit. And so when we get to an age in our 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s, we're trying to communicate who we really are, and we're scared to do that. That is a childlike trauma response. I'm like, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Like, unless you're, really were raised by emotionally unintelligent people that, like, your fucking uncles at the table are gonna, like, jump across the table and punch each other, then yes, that's an adult response. But these come from childhood years. These come from, this is third house shit right now. Third house shit. This is Gemini stuff. Like, I've given this example numerous times. The reason I fucking swear like a fucking sailor. When I was a child, I think I was 6th, 7th grade, I heard the word fuck at school and I had no idea what it was. Being the good girl that I was, I would always ask, my mom and dad, what is this? So I went home and I was standing in the kitchen and my mom, I think, was brushing out my braids or something like that because she was doing my hair. She's standing behind me. And I just said, facing the kitchen table with my back to her, Mom, what does fuck mean? And she stopped brushing my hair, whipped me around, and so I learned in that moment, don't learn new information, Sarah. Don't ask questions. Don't learn new information. And don't trust your mother. No, I'm kidding. But so now, and that's just an example. So now, as an adult, going up to an authority figure and asking to explain something used to be outside of my realm of understanding. I was worried about getting hit. I'll share an extremely odd, vulnerable story. So there's an area in Gloucester that I haven't walked in a while. I haven't walked the boulevard in a long time, in over a year. I used to live up that way, and I just don't walk the boulevard. So on Sunday, I was worried about seeing someone that I used to be friends with, that I've had to set boundaries with, that I was afraid to see. The last few times I'd seen that person, or, they'd yelled at me. They were a very big personality, and, I'd given a lot of my power away to that person. And so for a long time, I didn't realize that I was avoiding the situation. I was avoiding this. I love walking the boulevard. I literally love singing down the boulevard. I love dancing down the boulevard. I literally love it. I see myself singing on the boulevard. My future self is singing for fiesta or, sidewalk bazaars or for the 4th of July. I see myself on those stages singing. So I was vibrationally, girl, you gotta get down there. Something's blocking you. There's an energetic block. And I had since seen the person. We ignore each other, live and let live. It's completely okay. So this irrational fear, I was like, you just gotta bust it through. You just gotta do it. So, Sarah, if you're watching this, yes, I put on all of my safety bubbles. So I had my sunglasses on, I had my big jacket on, I had my headphones on, I was singing and I was dancing. I was like, you are ready. You are ready. You are a different, strange being. Go fucking dance down the boulevard. So I went down. I got there. I saw an old friend of mine as soon as I got there, bawled like a baby as soon as I got down there. This is such a big deal. It's no one's coming to yell at you, Sarah. No one's coming to yell at you. It was a childlike reaction because I was afraid of physical violence. Okay, this is it. So went down to the statue, danced at the statue, was walking back, and I was walking up the road, almost to Main Street, almost to my safe space. And I heard something, and I go like that. I was literally straight terrified for my life. I thought someone was stabbing me in the back. I thought someone was coming up behind me to stab me in the back. That moment cleared everything for me. Cleared dancing down the boulevard, cleared my trauma responses, cleared my childlike fears. Because it wasn't my inner child anymore. My inner child, it's okay. Sarah the human avatar can be fucking terrifying when she needs to be. I'd be scared of me sometimes. Truly. Unhinged Sarah the avatar, oh buddy, watch out. She will eloquently rip you to pieces. So it wasn't so much that I was afraid of something outside of myself. I was afraid of how powerful I am. I was afraid of how I could set my own boundaries, how strong I am. I was intimidated by my own self, but the actual fear was a past life fear, not based in reality, of dying, of getting killed, of getting physically attacked for being ourselves. As different beings in this world, we are literally physically afraid of being attacked. Whoa. Just looking at that, take a deep fucking breath. I literally had this whole epiphany. I was like, you've projected all of this onto your old friend. You've projected all of this fear onto this person, onto the boulevard, onto this issue, onto this fucking thing, where it's literally an irrational fear of someone coming behind you and physically attacking you. That was Sunday. That was heavy shit. So let's wrap this back around. Let's circle back. Boundaries in a boundaryless world. After I literally walked to the boulevard, did that whole experience, processed all those things, and came back, I had to take a nap after that. I was exhausted. I was absolutely exhausted. So these seemingly minuscule things are as gargantuan as we could possibly imagine them to be. Like going for a walk and walking back, I left a 2-year trauma. I gave it to the ocean. Bless you, Mother Ocean. I gave it to the ocean and walked back and took with me an acceptance of a human being having experienced all of these lifetimes of starseed traumas, having been killed, burned at the stake, stabbed in the back, numerous times, purposefully hurt myself. Like I could go into it, but they're not based in the 3D world of 2023. So boundaries in a boundaryless world look like showing up when you do not think that it is a big deal. Just show up. Your presence in that moment, as big as you are, create the healing vibration beyond what you could possibly think. The ripples of your existence go beyond what you could think, whatever you could think. Is that all? Is that all? I think so. The boundaries conversation will continue because we will all be at a place of bliss. We will all be vibrating in the fifth dimension. We will all be ascending. We will all be going towards unity consciousness. So these practices will change and grow as the vibration of the planet changes and grows, if that makes sense. I'll just plant that seed here. So although maybe a year ago, I was talking about boundaries saying like, block that fucker now. Block them. Don't get me wrong. Block them on your phone, on your apps, for all of your teachings, all of your social media presences. Block them. Because that's a boundary. But recognize that like when you're out in the world and on the street, anyone will be able to walk up to you. Anyone will be able to say things to you. But our fear of people physically attacking us is not based in reality. It is not based in adult emotional maturity and understanding. Those are old world vibrations that we are coming out of. But, you know, like I literally want you to visualize yourself being like, I'm in a muddy hole of shit. We just had a mud fight. And now you stand up. You still have to let the muck fall off of you. So my walk was just letting the muck fall off of me. And then as the clear version of myself, I just say, wow, the fear that I actually fear is the pain of death. Wow. I actually don't fear getting yelled at. I don't fear somebody judging me. I don't fear somebody laughing at me. I don't fear someone talking to me. I don't fear any of those things. I fear physical violence. Cool. That was my gift. That was my lesson on Sunday. So although we are processing things so intensely, I get it. Multidimensionality, it is not for the kiddos. It's not for the children. And when I say children, I mean like the babies being born right now and the 5-year-olds, the teenagers right now, their consciousness is beyond. They're my teachers. I'm learning from 5-year-olds. The first person that ever telepathically communicated with me is now 5 years old. She was 3 the first time. I feel honored to be one of her students. So we find that, so when I say kiddos, I mean those who maybe someone who's aged, who never emotionally matured. Those are the ones that we fear the physical violence of. And I get that. That was like a really new understanding for me. But I recognize that fear, came from a childlike space. It was a younger version of Sarah that was physically afraid because she was always worried because everybody was so much bigger, and how am I supposed to defend myself? You know? I'm blessed. I don't live in a world where I have to worry of that physical violence coming at me on a regular basis. That's a blessing. But that irrational fear, I have to check. That's my work. That is where I work on my anxiety, and I recognize when I go out in the world, no one's coming for you, Sarah. No one's coming to punch you. No one's coming to abuse you. No one's coming to touch you. You're okay. You're okay. I speak of fame a lot, and in past lives, I had, a lot of knownness, and in this life, I'm a public figure, and I'm blessed to be that, and I'm blessed to have that reality. So sometimes, I've had dreams where I've woken up and I've been, the chased by fans, or there's people that are trying to get you, and insert the John Lennon thing here, and all that stuff. As public figures, we affect people, and as forward thinkers, we are self-focused, and that affects people. And as artists, that affects people. As starseeds and aliens and angels, we're here to help people, but we look like people, so people get mad. They're like, what the fuck? I'm in circles now. So, my dear light worker, thank you for showing up in a world that does not make sense, and thank you for processing your traumas, whether they be this life traumas or past life traumas. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for being here with me for this chat. Please comment below and let me know what you're experiencing and what you're going through, and please share with the group some of your tools and tricks as to how you set your healthy boundaries in a world where we really can't have any. What works for you? Thank you for sharing.